Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. If I told you that I spent 0 mesos to make my full meso drop gear setup, would you believe me? Or are you gonna be like, this guy Duky, he's exaggerating everything. He doesn't know what he's talking about. How on earth could he have spent 0 mesos? Well, you'd be right, because technically I didn't spend 0. And if you're smart, you would know that re-rolling something costs money. But I did basically spend 0 mesos to make my meso drop gear. So in this video, I'm gonna talk to you guys about how I did this, how I made my basic meso drop gear, and it costed me pretty much nothing, and talk about mesos in general so that we're all on the same page, we know how to get money, and you guys can continue to prog in Challenger World. If any of this is interesting to you, definitely be sure to subscribe. Helps me out so much. You don't miss out on any videos because of it. Costs you nothing. And of course, come to the live stream so you can see me prog my collie in real time, ask me questions, and of course, join the Discord link down below. All right, so for the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about, let's talk about mesos. You're gonna look at my inventory and be like, 3.4 bill. How the hell do you have 3.4 bill? How do you have rental gear, but you still have 3.4 bill? So there's different ways to get money on this game. First of all, I killed all of the weekly bosses, including Kai. As you saw right there, and you could see here, like I just killed all the bosses. Killing the bosses gives you money. If you open this quick move here, you sell the crystals, sell weekly crystals, sell daily crystals. It's going to give you money. Also, every single day, I do all of the daily bosses. So I literally open my planner. I check all of the daily bosses besides Omni CLN, and I sell all of these crystals that they drop, and it's about another 100 mil. There's also Ursus. Ursus, this guy over here, also gives you around 120 mil mesos, 110 mil mesos, depending on what level you are, every single day. You do him 3 times a day. If you don't know when to do Ursus, you could do him between 1 hour after reset and 5 hours after reset. Anywhere in that window, you could do it. I believe you could do it also between -6 reset and -2 reset, and that's the double Ursus meso time. And of course, just grinding as well. Killing mobs, you'll be able to loot and get more mesos just by doing that. So we all know how to get money. As long as you're doing all this stuff every day, you're eventually going to get more money. If you reach diamond, one of the buffs that you get is 20% meso, 20% drop. So it's really important to get diamond as well, because you could get this buff as early as possible and increase your training rates and all that type of stuff. So now let's talk about how I was able to actually get the meso drop gear to legendary and why I'm wearing these pieces of gear. So the event rings, I'm using event rings because they are free and they have really good stats. They're about equal to a 17-star ring. I was able to get all of the event rings from these sources. Summer Countdown gave me one. By the way, claim all of this stuff. It all goes away after reset. Even if you claim it, it still goes away after reset. And I know people are going to ask about these flames. So these flames, you really can't do much with them, to be honest with you, because you don't really have any gear. You could use it on like your cup. You can redeem CRA pieces. Like let's say you're going to use a CRA hat. You could do that and run the flames on it. If you happen to get any arcane drops, you could do that. If you happen to get like a Twilight Mark, Superior drop, you could use it on those. If you got a real Dominator pendant, you could use it on that. You can't use it on the Genesis weapon. Even the regular CRA pieces, if you're not going to get Eternals, then you would just use it on that. But just use it on something. Use it on something that you're going to be wearing. Even if it's not an item that's that good, like a cup, it's still fine. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. So I used 4 event rings. One of the event rings I got from the Summer Countdown. Another event ring I got from the Hyper Burning Max, the start reward. Another one I got it from the 210 reward. And then the last one I got from my Errol being level 210 and having the Shine Pass. I was able to transfer the ring from Errol and put it on my collie. So that's how I got all 4 event rings. Now, how did I get them to legendary without actually spending any money? So this is what I did. First of all, in the Summer Countdown, there is a legendary scroll. So that's 1 ring right there already at legendary. This ring, the Eternal Flame ring, starts at unique. And I use these free event ring cubes to tier it up to legendary. So that's 2 rings at legendary. What about these 2? What did I do? So first of all, in the Challenger World UI, there is epic pot scrolls. So I use these epic pot scrolls to get them to epic. There's also these cubes that you get from bossing called hard cubes. And because I killed all of the bosses, I got a pretty good amount of hard cubes, like 40 or 50 of them or something like that. And I used them to try and tier up these rings to unique. And it worked because there's a pretty decent chance to get a item from epic to unique using hard cubes. And then I also used the remaining event ring cubes to tier it up to legendary. By the way, Errol at 210, the reward from the premium Shine Pass is another 200 event ring exclusive cubes. So I used those to get all of these to legendary, and I didn't have to spend money to tier up anything. And then to get the actual line that I wanted, I also used these event cubes. It doesn't cost too much to just get a single line of meso or a single line of drop. Now, what about these other accessories? Now, why did I choose these? So face and eye, you don't really have any options besides the Zac face and eye, so that's why I use them. Earrings, you have the horntail earrings that you can get, or you have Golux earrings I happen to have Golux earrings, so I use these. Pendant, you want to use a greed pendant because in particular, it has a passive on it that says increases equipment drop rate by 20% when equipped. Now, this type of drop rate doesn't work on stuff like frags when you're training. But when you're opening a box in a loot room or you're killing a boss, it applies to certain things like pitch boss gear or Golux gear, stuff like that. It'll apply. So it's good to have this as drop gear. The downside is greed pendant basically has no stats on it, so it's really bad for training. So for me, because Kali has really strong mobbing anyways, I'm just going to use this regardless. And I could always get more damage from other things like increasing my frags so that I could one-shot better. Now, why Mechanator pendant? I use the Mechanator pendant over the Horntail pendant because Mechanator pendant has better flames. It's just going to be slightly more damage. That's why I chose these. Now, how did I get these items to legendary? So you understand the rings. There's a lot of like ring cubes and you could tier up, right? But what about all of these guys? So this is why I prioritized bossing first. If you look at the emerald buff and you look at the diamond buff and you look at the rewards, there's a legendary scroll here and there's another legendary scroll here. I actually used these two legendary scrolls on my face and eye and instantly got them to legendary. Now you might see that and be like, yo, Duky, you're crazy. Why wouldn't you save that for your Jenny weapon? Why wouldn't you save that for your secondary? Why wouldn't you save that for your secondary? Why wouldn't you save it for like a cooldown hat? Why wouldn't you save it for arcane gloves? Why wouldn't you save it for any of this stuff? I'll tell you why. So first of all, I want to say that those items, let's say it's your secondary, your Genesis weapon, your gloves, your hat, all of those items at legendary, what do they do? Why are you getting them to legendary? You're getting them to legendary so that you get more damage, right? Like that's the point. You get it to legendary so you get more damage. Now here's the thing though. Meso drop gear also gives you damage, but just not directly. Meso drop gear gives you damage because you get more frags, you get more nodes, you get more fams, and you get more money. And all of those things give you damage. If you're going to be grinding a lot, then getting your Meso drop gear as early as possible is very, very, very important. The other thing is Meso drop lines only appear at legendary. Let's say I get my Pinot secondary and I'm thinking, oh, I saved the legendary scroll for it. Well, the thing is, as I'm trying to tier up my secondary, I can get a line that I'll settle on and I could hold on to that for the time being. Just like my secondary right now, how it has 30 boss and 6 attack. This is just a settle line that I have because I couldn't tier it up, but it's still really good. Whereas Meso drop gear, there is no settling. You have to get it to legendary for Meso and drop to even appear. There is no like unique Meso line that you could settle on the way up. So I think it's very important to get these legendary as early as possible. That's why I use these legendary scrolls on the Meso drop gear. Now these last two items, I use bright cubes. In these boxes are also bright cubes. It's 30 bright cubes here and 60 bright cubes here. There's also even more bright cubes over here, 20 and 20. So all of those things combined, I was able to get all of my gear to legendary just with the event resources, whether it's legendary potential scrolls, whether it's the free bright cubes, whether it's the event ring exclusive cubes. And that's how I was able to roll them. But now how did I get Meso or drop on these pieces? Like we know how we got to legendary. So how did I get Meso or drop on them? What I did is I also used the cubes I got from bossing. So when you kill bosses, there's a chance to drop like karma cubes. And then I also bought the cubes from this shop over here, the challenger shop. These I also used them to roll Meso drop. This way I didn't have to spend any money and I still got my Meso drop gear all sorted out. Are you looking for a new browser? You should definitely try Opera GX then. With my link down below, you could download it and try it for free. You don't gotta buy anything. And let me tell you about it real quick. So for me, I put a wallpaper on the browser of the MapleStory mages just because I think this picture is really nice. It also has a bunch of shortcuts to any website that you want to go to. There's a sidebar that's actually really useful. One of the main things that Opera GX has is called GX Control, where you can limit the amount of RAM and CPU usage that certain websites have, or even network usage so your computer and your browser runs faster. It also has other integrations like Twitch or Spotify that allow you to just play your music so you don't even have to have the apps open themselves. And you guys might have heard that uBlock Origin just got destroyed off of Google Chrome. So Opera GX offers its own ad block that's really good. It's just built into it. Toggle it on and then you have no ads for whatever site that you're on. It even has a built-in panic button in case you're looking at something that, hey, maybe you shouldn't be looking at. Press the panic button and it's gone. Just like that. Anyways, like I said, thank you Opera GX for sponsoring. If you want to try it, link down below in the description. It would help me out a lot. Appreciate you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of the video. Now, where do I go from here? So if it's your main and you really want to prog very far, you're going to be looking at making hybrids. Now, the thing with hybrids though, is they are very, very, very expensive and they're very hard to get, but it's still worth getting them because that's what actually makes you really strong long term. If you ask any established player, they will tell you the same thing, that getting hybrids, yes, the process is miserable and it's really hard, but it's worth it in the end once you get them. So what is a hybrid, right? What if you're new here and you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Getting a hybrid? What does that even mean? A hybrid looks like this. So when you hover over an item that's a hybrid, you're going to notice that you have item drop rate and Meso on the same potential. So you want these. On accessories, which are your rings, your face, eye, earrings, and pendants, it caps out at 5 lines of Meso total. If I were to hover my equips, you see it says 5 lines of Meso, equip my item 100%, meaning I have 5 lines of 20%. And then for my drop, it caps out at 10 lines. So I have 200%. So you're going to want a total of 5 lines of Meso across your accessories and then 10 lines of drop. And that's where hybrids come in, because you can get Meso and drop. You can get that 5 times, like 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So that's 5 hybrids, right? But if you want the full 200 drop, you're going to also need something called a double drop, where you have 2 drop lines on your accessories. This is like the full setup. Once you have this, like the 100 Meso, 200 drop, you are going to start rolling in resources. You're going to get so many frags. You're going to get a ton of familiars. You're going to get a lot of nodes. You're just going to get way stronger, way faster whenever you farm. But this process costs a lot of money. There's a lot of upfront costs doing this, and it sucks. The best way to make hybrids is by buying bright cubes. Now, why do you want to buy bright cubes? Because bright cubes are super expensive, right? Like, why would you want to buy these? You don't even get that many of them for your Mesos. Thing is, it's the highest chance of actually rolling a hybrid. So because Meso and drop lines are known as prime lines, those purple cubes, the bright cubes, they have a higher chance to roll that thing called a prime line. Now, what is a prime line? So if you hover over an item, like let's say you hover over this earring, you see how it says luck 6%, luck 3%, luck 3%. Those are both luck lines, right? 6% and 3%. But the 6% line is higher. That's actually the maximum amount that you can get within this potential tier. This item is epic. So the highest amount of luck percent that you can get is 6%. You could even see that there's like a purple dot next to it, meaning it's the same line rank as the potential rank. That's what's known as a prime line on MapleStory. But the first line in a potential out of the 3 is always a prime line. So when you look at my gear here, you'll notice that the top line is always a green dot on all of them, because the top line is always a prime line. So if you want a double prime, that means you would have to get 2 prime lines. You see how when I hover over this, there's the Meso obtain 20% has a green dot next to it. And then there's the max HP 12% that has a green dot next to it. This has 2 prime lines on it, but it's obviously not the right prime lines that I want. Bright cubes have a higher chance of that happening, of having 2 green dots or even 3 green dots in your potential, meaning that you're going to get more prime lines more often with bright cubes. So whenever you want to make hybrids or double drops, you want to use bright cubes. So you see here on this eye accessory, even though the drop rate line is there on the 3rd line, there's still a green dot next to it. It means it's a prime line. Meso drop are considered prime lines. Hopefully that didn't confuse you guys. But long story short, just use the bright cubes to make the hybrids and the double drop. Just trust me on this one. But that's how that works. The last thing I wanted to say is that things are going to be resetting today as I'm uploading this video within the next reset. If you're watching this video right away, just a little bit of tips for you guys. A lot of stuff is going to be resetting because this next coming reset, Wednesday in real life, is what's considered weekly boss reset on MapleStory. Weekly boss reset not only resets all of the weekly bosses, all of these bosses over here, they're going to reset. You're going to be able to do all of them. It resets your crystal limit, so you can just start selling all of your crystals again. But there's other things that are also going to reset today. So make sure you buy all of this stuff before reset today. Arcane seal, open it, press the shop, buy the 30 wands so you can hold on to them for another week. The Raising Elenos shop, so like the Illusion coin shop, Strawberry Farms reset, the Meso shop, the Mechaberry tickets reset, so you definitely want to buy them. Same with the Express boosters. By the way, another thing that's really good with this Illusion coin shop, if you watched my shop guide, is this Event Ring Legendary Scroll. If you still don't have your Meso drop gear and you want to get a Event Ring to Legendary, I do think this is worth buying. It'll save you a ton of money. Item burning is also resetting. So for me, I killed Vihilla, means I have 200 crests. That means after the weekly boss reset, if I kill Vihilla again, I'll get another 200. So make sure you kill all of your weekly bosses. Rental gear. Rental gear also resets on this coming boss reset, meaning that you could pay Mesos again to buy the rental gear. So if you want to double dip on your rental gear, you could buy it now. It'll last 2 days. Do your bosses now, do your bosses after weekly reset, and then you're good. The last thing to mention is there's also a miracle time. There's going to be a miracle time for the accessories on June 26th. So if you still don't have legendary accessories, you can buy bright cubes and get get double the chance to tier them up on June 26th. If you don't have Meso drop gear, you've been waiting, then this is your perfect opportunity to do that as well. Anyways, I hope this video helped you out. Just wanted to give you guys some more tips. Let me know what types of videos you want to see in comments down below. Appreciate you guys so much for watching. Hope you're still enjoying Challenger World. And if you stayed until the very end, I'm going to throw in one last tip. For those who couldn't do their Erda request, there's going to be a maintenance on Thursday. They're going to refund you all of the resources that you lost out. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Shout out to my beautiful members, Blazefire, Shagad, Ravi, Koga, CK, TLS, Vampiric X, Kelvin, Mochi Teddy, Cloudy, Phenomenal Noise, The Shooms, Cloudy Figs Live, After Spring, Trashpot, Assassin, If It's Right, Skittles, and Lomo Street. I appreciate you guys so much. If you ever want to submit fan art, put it in the Discord.